Hello and welcome to Bits and Atoms, the Grisham Robotics Founder Series. I'm your host, Elias Can, and today I've got Igor Demishev, co-founder and CEO of Healz, joining me. To get started, Igor, would you mind sharing a quick intro about you and Healz?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a founder at Healz, and basically I'm building, along with my partner Alex Platonov, the place where you can come and ask any, even the most complex question about your health, and basically put your health on autopilot, meaning that either if you have some severe condition or you just like to do some fitness exercises or whatever, it will help you during your health journey. And our main focus right now is complex things, because we clearly see that people can benefit a lot of very structured way, like in a cloud code, but for health.
Very interesting. And we'll definitely get more into the product side and touch a bit more on that. Maybe taking a step back and looking a little bit more at you personally first. What originally inspired or motivated you to become a founder? What's kind of the origin of your journey on the entrepreneur side?
Yeah, great question. So I always liked to build things. And basically, I started as being an employee in great big companies like Yandex and Alibaba. And I really learned a lot there. But actually, even inside of big companies, I always did some new products. And at some point, I figured out I really enjoy it. So I decided to step out of like warm environment of these big companies, and did a company here in London. It was called Jiffy back then, and we scaled it from 0 to 70 million ARR within just 1 year. So it was a quite wild ride back then. And then actually I found out that there is a certain DNA sequence that like certain gene which correlates if you have a desire to become entrepreneur. And guess what? I had this gene, and it explained a lot of things and decisions in my life. But basically, for me, it's not a career choice. It's just a natural thing I enjoy doing, and I can do quite well.
Amazing. Yeah, interesting. I don't know if I had heard of this specific gene before, but I'll have to look into it a bit more and see see that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I can send you the name of it.
Yeah, that'd be great, and we'll share it in the article as well, because I think that'll be interesting for folks to see if they have it as well. And it sounds like you did some. I think the term is intrapreneurship at those two bigger companies, Alibaba and Yandex, as well, to do some more like project-based stuff while you're internally there. Very interesting, and for you and for Healz, maybe kind of a more origin-ish type question as well, but curious in terms of how you decided to build in health tech. What kind of aligned you to start building there?
Yeah. So two points, two reasons, and basically almost all my previous career I spent in e-commerce, which is a kind of foundational thing, because people always buy some things. And healthcare in that terms is quite similar. It's a very foundational thing in our lives, like in life of every man, every woman. And it's certainly broken. Like, it's so far from the edge of technology as in the current state. So I figured out that there is a great opportunity on big market to build something great. And basically, this thing drives me a lot as a really big business opportunity. And the second point, which creates a great intersection with the first one, is the mission. Like, for me personally, I like helping people. Either it's small help to my neighbors, or like, for example, I donate blood regularly. So I really enjoy the process of making other people happy. And once again, this is foundational thing. And with product in the health tech, I can make a lot of lives different in a better way. Like build maybe to sound naive, build a better place in this world by doing the things I'm doing right now.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that selflessness is great to hear. And you made a good point too, that health is so fundamental to our lives. Like you only get one body, and you got to take care of it. And there's a lot out there that can be an issue or problematic. Here in the States, we have definitely more of a hybrid system, probably leaning a bit more private, but a split between private and public healthcare services. I know in the UK, it's a bit different with a nationalized healthcare system. Do you think, and maybe for an audience who's less familiar, like, what are kind of like the pain points of the nationalized healthcare system today? Like, how do you see yourself fitting in and improving, what is kind of already offered to folks today?
Yeah, so like actually, to be fair, I'm thinking and like we from day zero in our company thought wider that right now it's the time to build global companies like ChatGPT or Anthropic. They spread everywhere. Of course, healthcare is a kind of separate thing because in different countries you have different systems, different nuances. But if you have the helicopter view, the structural issues are kind of similar in many countries. So the first one is the slow access, and it's the same in UK. It's like pretty bad in UK actually. If you need some specific neuro specialist, you can wait for months to get an appointment. And then you, like as a second point, the consultations are extremely short, and I believe in the US it's also like sometimes you need just more time with a doctor. So basically you get 10 minutes with someone who never seen you before, probably never not seen you after. And in these 10 minutes, you need to lay out what you have, like all the data you have. And they like fastly need to help you. And this leads to the third point, the continuity of knowledge, because doctor can't remember anything about you. The history is fragmented, and each visit starts like not from scratch. Of course, there are some systems, but still it's hard in these 10 minutes to provide the service, like make the whole overview. Either it is a small case, minor case, or like especially for the long-lasting things or for some critical things. And finally, incentives are misaligned as well, because doctors are overloaded and paid per consultation. The systems reward speed sometimes over deep thinking. So we figured out that we can actually close those gaps, because in many cases you don't need to even see the doctor. Like you need to see the doctor if they need to do some manipulation, take some blood tests, for example, although there are also some startups to like send you kits to your home. So what we can like do different, we can gather your data, because health is data. Basically, it's like zeros and ones in the end, right? We can analyze it, like ask specific questions, and then if needed, even to add the doctor to the chat when it's already ready, the case is there. So instead of just 10 rush minutes with a stranger, you get the system that actually understands your situation, that finds the root causes of the things which are happening to you and can go deeper. So like that's the difference. I see it in the future, how it should work. I'm not talking even about Health AI, but I want to highlight the difference between how it's done now in many countries and what is possible with current state of technology, on a global scale.
Yeah. Yeah, and on that global scale, and you make a good point too, that you don't have to focus just narrowly on the UK to get started. And from the very beginning, you thought of this from like a global perspective. Speaking of other, broader kind of more generalist AI platforms like a Chat GPT or Claude, how do you kind of position what you're doing at Healz right now versus their capabilities? Like what do you see as some of the main differentiators on your side that outperform or is better in contrast to what they can do?
Yeah, it's I believe the top one question investors want to hear answer to. And the short answer is like, you don't use a hammer to screw the bolts, right? Generic AI tools are great, are amazing, but they're still generic. And what we actually found in practice, people quite well understand that. So we interview each of our power users, and we were surprised actually. We thought, okay, probably they don't know about ChatGPT or similar platforms. They all did. They all, like 10 out of 10, they said, we know ChatGPT. We deliberately searched for the health solution, like the AI for health. And once they started using it, they understood the difference because you need some special flow how to work on health topics, how to dig deeper into the root causes. You need to have some safety layers in a more deeper way than generic ones do. And of course, there is a human in the loop as well. Even Sam Altman said that he wouldn't trust his health only to ChatGPT. There certainly needs to be a human in the loop. So to summarize, specific tools, at least for like, I don't know how many years, 2, 3, 5, maybe more, will still win the generic ones in important areas of your life. For example, health. Like this is, as we discussed before, the foundational thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the analogy of you wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a bolt. That's a good one, actually. I might borrow that. I like it. And maybe one last question here, and shifting gears a little bit, and you kind of touched on it at the beginning of the last question. So I'm interested to circle back. For you on the fundraising side, and since you've been a multiple time founder, what's been some of the better strategies for you in terms of fundraising? Any tips or tricks or things that have worked really well for you so far in your journey?
Yeah, I believe the most working thing in the fundraising is getting the warm intros. So like we pretty soon figured out that cold outreach may work, and we had some interesting connections with it. But for serious funding, it's much easier, much better to have warm introduction. So like one funny story. Early, when we only started and had only like very rough prototype, very raw, and even didn't have a deck, didn't have like a very good strategy, didn't have the secret sauce. We just came to our friend and said, okay, can you do some intros for us? And we like did with several friends like this. And soon we landed several meetings with tier 1 funds. And at some point we like passed the meeting with partner, and they said, okay, let's tomorrow meet again with other partners. Can you at least build some deck or something like this? And we spent the whole night building the deck. But we didn't raise the money back then. it wasn't the right time to do that. And currently, like what we decided to do, we actually understood that we must better focus on the strategy, on the product, on validation of the ideas we had, to return more prepared. And basically what we saw that the rise of the AI in the second half of the last year and this year completely changed the game. Now we're building AI first organization, meaning that we move much leaner and much faster at the same time by automating a lot of things with AI, not only the coding. Like I code from gym, like I do 3-4 tasks in parallel easily in the coding while doing some marketing stuff or other stuff. And this is really amazing. So now having not only the product, because products, like building the product became very cheap, you need as a startup to have better proofs of the product market fit, of economics, which we basically did after these first touch points with investors. So right now, I believe we're more prepared. And to summarize, the first thing is interest, warm interest, and second thing, just be prepared.
Absolutely. And I think I'm hearing, especially, I mean, the warm interest part for sure, like it's always better to have that than too much volume just on pure cold outreach. But your second point, I'm hearing founders talk about more and more, where even at first round or early stages, you need to have more validation, more proof points. I think it also lends to this being an environment where it's the bar or the barriers are so low to be able to create something very quickly in terms of an early product, or at least something you can test with early users, that it's more important now than ever to show some of this early validation, because it's so easy to spin up product.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. And we're at time. And so thank you, Igor, for joining me on Bits and Atoms. It was great to have you today. I'll let you get back to building, and thanks again for joining me. Have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you, Elias, for the great questions, and enjoy the rest of your week as well.